Listen very carefully. Jay-Z's name just exploded across the Epstein files like a nuclear bomb nobody saw coming. We're not talking rumors anymore, loves. We're talking 3 million pages of evidence, photos that'll make your stomach turn, and videos people are calling the death certificate for anyone even mentioned in these documents. For decades, this man has walked through scandals like he's bulletproof, the untouchable billionaire who somehow dodges every single controversy while everyone around him burns. But this time, the flames just kicked down his front door, and they're coming for everything he's built. Because when your name gets whispered in the same sentence as Epstein and underage victims, your legacy doesn't just take damage, it gets erased from existence. Buckle up, this gets dark. Stop scrolling right now. If you want content they're desperate to bury, smash that like button and subscribe immediately because powerful people are watching and they do not want this information spreading. So let's make absolutely sure everyone sees what's about to be exposed. All right, loves, let's detonate this truth bomb. Here's the nuclear truth I'm dropping today, and you need to absorb every word. Jay-Z's meticulously crafted empire, that billion-dollar image protected by armies of lawyers and PR machines for 30 years, is disintegrating in real time. And it's not collapsing because of jealous competitors or internet trolls. It's imploding because decades of buried secrets, silenced victims, and whispered allegations are erupting in an era where we're finally demanding answers about powerful men and vulnerable young girls. And with his name detonating across Epstein files, dear God, this isn't just career damage. This is watching a legacy get obliterated while the world records every second. I already see the comments forming. Mocking voice, another conspiracy theorist, another baseless attack on a successful Black billionaire. Stop. I'm not declaring guilt. I'm reporting that the internet is experiencing a complete meltdown right now, and whether these allegations prove true or false, the destruction is happening live. And honestly, stories people have been screaming about for years are finally getting the spotlight they desperately deserved. So if you're hungry for uncomfortable truths, even when they shatter everything you believed, hit subscribe and support this channel so everyone witnesses what's really unfolding. Because mainstream media, jittery laugh. They're running for the hills, pretending this doesn't exist. All right, so let me paint this nightmare scenario. Recent weeks brought federal investigators crawling back through ancient Epstein reports, and allegedly buried in that toxic waste, anonymous hotline recordings resurfaced, including one that supposedly connects Jay-Z and Harvey Weinstein during the 1990s darkness. Are these recordings verified? Not yet. Proven in court? Absolutely not. But here's the terrifying reality, loves. They exist. They're documented inside the most horrifying sex trafficking and blackmail empire in modern history. And once your name appears in those files, even as a footnote, the internet doesn't wait for trials, loves. The internet declares open hunting season. Content creators, investigators, they pounced instantly. One posted the documents screaming, "They got Jay-Z and the Epstein files, emergency documentary dropping now." Another immediately branded him child predator before the ink dried. Chilling pause. Digital execution. Instantaneous. So here's where reality becomes horrifying. According to breaking reports, this Epstein document avalanche contains 3 million pages of damning evidence, thousands of photographs that allegedly show everything, hundreds of hours of recorded video footage, and somewhere in that mountain of darkness, Jay-Z's name allegedly appears. Now, absolute clarity, this doesn't mean charges filed. It doesn't even confirm direct involvement in Epstein's crimes. What it does mean is his name is now permanently linked, even tangentially, with the most devastating scandal in contemporary history. And in 2026, that association alone is fatal, because public opinion doesn't wait for courtroom verdicts, loves. It waits for patterns. And right now, millions are examining Jay-Z's history, saying, wait, there's definitely a pattern here. Let me show you exactly what they're seeing. All right, now we discuss Jaguar Wright, industry insider, whistleblower, someone who's been screaming warnings about Jay-Z for years, while everyone dismissed her as crazy. And now, with his name exploding across Epstein conversations, she's declaring, "I warned you all." According to Jaguar's testimony, she personally worked with 3 alleged victims of the Carters who were prepared to expose everything. But they stopped. Why? Paralyzing fear, crushing legal threats, or her claim, pressure from untouchable power brokers who allegedly shield Jay-Z at any cost. Dramatic pause. But here's where this becomes nightmare fuel loves. Jaguar claims she witnessed Rihanna, still a teenager, flown into America with zero parental supervision, delivered straight into a grown man's corporate headquarters, and she allegedly remained inside for hours, including 4 hours completely alone. Voice becomes haunting. Staff members nervously whispered. People watched uncomfortably, and according to Jaguar, Rihanna was being manufactured as a product, not protected as a child. She was allegedly thrust into adult industry parties, Hollywood events, and dangerous situations at 15, 16, 17 years old, while everyone pretended she was legal age. And then there's the story that's been circulating like poison for years. Allegedly, during Rihanna's audition, she nervously performed a cappella in Jay-Z's office, and the response she received? According to circulating accounts, "We don't sign songs here. We sign souls. There's 2 exits, through that door with a signed contract, or through this window, and we're on the 29th floor." Was that dark humor? A pressure test? A way to measure her desperation? Perhaps, but viewed through the Epstein lens, combined with stories about vulnerable young girls, power imbalances, and control mechanisms, that doesn't sound like charismatic music executive anymore, loves. It sounds like intimidation, psychological leverage, absolute control. And Rihanna isn't the only victim being discussed. Jaguar Wright also exposes Foxy Brown's story. Allegedly, Foxy was 14 to 15 years old when grown men forced hyper lyrics into her mouth. She received a notorious nickname, allegedly from Jay-Z personally, and was transformed into a walking adult fantasy before she could legally drive. In Jaguar's words, these weren't rising young stars, they were groomed pawns, and she's far from the only voice saying this. Enter Gene Deal. Former bad boy insider, Diddy's ex-security, someone who's witnessed industry darkness firsthand. And Gene, he's doubling down on everything. He claims Jay-Z was absolutely involved with young girls, that he personally knew some victims from his neighborhood, and that stories people laughed off previously are about to age catastrophically if Epstein files start connecting dots. He even references footage of Uncle Luke allegedly having Jay-Z positioned on a couch, eyes locked onto girls performing in front of him. Gene says Jay couldn't tear his eyes away from them. Previously, that story was dismissed as wild hip-hop culture. Now, under Epstein's shadow, it's being re-examined as evidence of predatory behavior. Alright, so let's systematically lay out what we're confronting here, loves. Claim 1. Jay-Z's name allegedly surfaces in Epstein-related documents via anonymous hotline evidence, unverified officially but documented. Claim 2, Jaguar Wright testifies she worked with 3 alleged Carter victims prepared to speak publicly but were silenced. Her testimony awaiting corroboration. Claim 3, Rihanna was allegedly transported to America as a minor, left unsupervised, and pushed into adult environments. Industry rumors lacking concrete proof. Claim 4, Foxy Brown was allegedly groomed at 14 to 15 by adult men controlling her career. Long-standing allegations never legally pursued. Claim 5, Gene Deal testifies Jay-Z was involved with young girls, and he personally knew some victims. His testimony, no documented evidence yet. Claim 6, Jay-Z and Beyonce's relationship timeline contains suspicious inconsistencies, with some claiming they were together when she was underage. Disputed, never confirmed. Now, none of this has been proven in criminal court, but here's what is happening. The internet is excavating all these stories that have floated around for decades, and suddenly rereading them like confessions. So here's the concept I need burned into your memory: the protected fortress. For decades, Jay-Z has been treated like he's wrapped in impenetrable armor, like he's surrounded by a force field constructed from elite lawyers, billion-dollar PR machines, powerful allies, and an industry that will sacrifice anything to keep his name pristine. And honestly, that's not conspiracy theory. That's just how power operates, loves. But here's the thing. About protected fortresses, they only stand as long as the public believes in them. And right now, with Epstein, with Jaguar Wright, with Gene Deal, with ancient rumors resurfacing, with hashtag child predator trending globally, that belief is shattering. Okay, so let's zoom out to see the bigger nightmare. This isn't just about Jay-Z. This is about a system where young girls are allegedly trafficked like commodities, where powerful men allegedly weaponize their influence, their wealth, and their connections to control narratives, where victims are allegedly silenced not through violence, but through terror. And when you add Epstein into this equation, when you realize Epstein was allegedly operating a global blackmail operation, using sex, hidden cameras, and drugs to trap powerful men and politicians, suddenly, every story about a teenage girl alone in a room with a billionaire feels exponentially more sinister. Because the question haunting everything is this: who was just present in the room, and who was operating the machinery? And then there's Beyonce. The official narrative goes, they met when she was 18. They took things slowly. They built gradually. Everything legal, everything polished. But insiders like Gene Deal, they tell a completely different story. Gene claims he witnessed them together in late 90s clubs where she absolutely shouldn't have been present. He says Jay was around 30 while she was allegedly 17 or younger. And then there's this bombshell. Gabrielle Union once claimed she and Beyonce attended junior high together, which would make Beyonce older than her official age. So which is the truth, loves? Is Beyonce older than public records show, or was she younger when she and Jay-Z began their relationship? Either way, the timeline absolutely doesn't add up. And in an era where we're finally scrutinizing age gaps, power imbalances, and access, that's a catastrophic problem. All right, so now we're descending into the deepest darkness. There's a theory, and it's been circulating through intelligence communities for years, that Epstein wasn't just a predator, he was an operative, allegedly connected to Mossad, allegedly working parallel to CIA objectives, and his actual game, leverage, using sex, hidden cameras, and drugs to trap powerful men, billionaires, politicians, global leaders, in permanent blackmail loops. There are leaked emails, allegations, whispers about Bill Gates, STD pressure tactics, and coercion. Ghislaine Maxwell's father allegedly being tied to international intelligence and arms trafficking, former prime ministers attending Epstein's funeral. And if all that's accurate, if Epstein's world was really about control, not lust, then the question becomes, was Jay-Z just circulating in the same social circles, or was there something darker? So, predictably, the internet is detonating. On one side, you've got people screaming, finally, someone's holding this man accountable for decades of whispers. Jaguar Wright been warning us for years, we should have listened. If even half of this proves true, his empire is finished. On the other side, you've got people arguing this is a coordinated smear campaign. He hasn't been charged with anything. Y'all will believe any conspiracy. Where's the proof? This is what happens when you're successful and black. They destroy you. And honestly, loves, both perspectives have validity. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Jay-Z hasn't been criminally charged with any Epstein-related crimes. Many of these claims remain unverified, heavily disputed, and fueled by online speculation. But in 2026, facts almost don't matter first. Viral narratives do. And the narrative exploding right now is this. Jay-Z's spotless public image was a carefully constructed illusion. The Epstein document tsunami is demolishing the walls. Ancient rumors, ignored victims, and insider testimonies are flooding through the breach. So let me synthesize everything for you. Here's what we know, or at least what's being alleged. Jay-Z's name has allegedly surfaced in Epstein-related documents via anonymous hotline evidence. Industry insiders like Jaguar Wright and Gene Deal are claiming they've witnessed his alleged behavior with young girls for decades. Ancient stories about Rihanna, Foxy Brown, and Beyonce are being re-examined under a new, unforgiving spotlight. The internet is connecting dots, real or imagined, between Jay-Z, Epstein, and a culture of systematic exploitation. And whether it's all smoke or there's fire raging underneath, one thing is crystal clear. This is the closest Jay-Z's empire has ever come to complete annihilation. Because once your name appears near Epstein, once people start demanding answers about young girls, power, and control, you don't need proof to lose public trust. You only need doubt. And right now, doubt is consuming everything. So yeah, that's everything I've got for you today, loves. Do I think Jay-Z is guilty? I don't know. That's not my decision. That's for investigators, courts, and the people directly involved. But do I think the internet is finally holding powerful men accountable for stories that have been whispered about for decades? Absolutely. And honestly, whether you believe these allegations or think this is a weaponized smear campaign and an era of blackmail and controlled information, the conversation is happening, and it's not disappearing. So I want to hear from you. What do you think about all this? Do you believe Jaguar Wright and Gene Deal, or do you think this is just another coordinated attack on a successful black man? Let me know in the comments section below. And if you made it this far, thank you. Seriously, thank you for sticking with me through this heavy, messy, uncomfortable topic. Leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, because we're going to keep covering stories like this, the ones that make people uncomfortable but need to be discussed. Next video, we're diving into the Diddy tapes, and trust me, you do not want to miss that. Until then, loves, stay safe, stay skeptical, and keep demanding answers.